Alright, you guys, I just made this video, right? Talking about things that they were trading on Wall Street, and I swear to God, as soon as I just put up that video, they sent me some incredible stuff. I'm going to read to you that stuff in a second. You guys, I was saying to you, this has been an absolutely incredible year for us here. I don't even understand or know how we as a tribe here was able to do what we did for the people here. And I didn't even understand the significance and the importance of what we're doing here until the people started sharing with us some stuff that I was guided to give these people here some notes and stuff during this entire scamdemic, you guys. A lot of the people here did not receive not one red cent, okay, to feed their children, their wives, their husbands, their spouses, their mothers and fathers, nothing, okay? While we were out here giving the notes and stuff to them, they came to us and explained to us that it was the notes that we were giving to them that they were able to buy food for their children. Do you see what I'm saying, you guys? So a huge thank you to each and every one of you for supporting us here this year. Those of you who wish to support us here so we can continue to uplift fallen humanity here, go to the link we posted below. You can go to PayPal at themullings@gmail.com so we can continue to share food with the people that I'm here met. Not only with the people that are homeless. Yesterday, we were on the roadway down by the waterway, and there's a homeless man we share with all the time, eh? And the day before, I was explaining to him we needed more notes. And my offspring that was with us at the time was looking at him. My back was turned to him. I was looking somewhere else. And my offspring said to me, "Mom, did you see him cry? He was crying." Now, I didn't see that. So today we were able to, we saw him rummaging through the garbage and stuff. So we're able to give him some notes. You know the first thing I saw him go and do with the notes? He went and bought himself a fruit. I think it was an orange, and he was eating it. And I was like, wow. He could have bought anything else. He could have bought Coca-Cola. He could have bought whatever. But he bought a fruit. And I thought, wow, these people that we think are homeless and on the street and whatever have a lot of sense. During this entire time, I didn't see not one homeless guy put on a mask or wear bleach. I'm just saying. Anyways, you guys, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Remember, you guys, we're polka dots. Think and breathe your life into existence, right? And by faith, you guys, faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. Faith without works is dead. I say that to you all the time. And that's all we did here. I walked by faith, gave to the people them, and the people were able to look after their children, their wives, their spouses, their grandchildren as a result. And you know what was amazing about it? The work that they were able to do through the dignity. It was like when you give someone something to do and give them some notes behind it too, it provided this dignity, this respect. You see what I'm saying? So they felt that they were doing something constructive. Anyways, so someone came to us and I was explaining some stuff that, yeah, while we were sharing with them and giving to them, nothing was going on for them in their business and that during this entire time. So the wickedness of what this thing was created to do, by the grace of God, we managed to help a lot of people here too. And the dinners and stuff that we, by the skin of our teeth, put on, I don't even know how that manifested. And yeah, and the roads and stuff, we still have ways to go though. There's some things I was focusing on manifesting this year. So we're hoping to get the libraries and the post office and stuff done this year. But some amazing stuff coming down the pipeline. I want you guys to hear a little bit more about what Linwood is talking about. If you guys want to join us on our online tutor school class, it's not like any other school you've ever been to, right? This is about you choosing you, doing, learning the way you are intended to learn. This is not about me inflicting on anybody my whatever. This is about my research, however, of where I've come with the laws and the history of what's gone on, right? So you work at your own pace and rhythm, and I got that whole format many years prior when I was doing my own research on Yale University and how they learned basically through researching and then coming together and just talking about what they've learned without testing. We don't do tests here. Your life is your test. Yeah, you go through tests during life, and it's a test to see if you're going to stand or cajole to corruption, right? And then when you're tired like we are now and we're subjected to stuff, mute laws kick in. And when mute laws kick in, it's on a whole different level. So you see, I didn't talk for a long time. People were complaining that they wanted to hear my voice. So I was pissed off, right? So, anyways, so to support us here, you guys go to PayPal at themullings@gmail.com. I was mad to see how long this thing went on, man. For those of you in need of set off, I was just explaining in the last video what the GSA bonds were about. The GSA bonds using the birth certificate numbers and the social security numbers to set off matters such as child support cases, mortgages, foreclosures, tickets, citations, utilities, auto loans, student loans, and warrants. And for those of you having to see an agent doing business as parole officer, as well as those of you in the churches doing business as jails, for non-violent offenses, you can email us for the GSA bond templates to set off the matters. And for the 1099 OID, to get back those finances they claimed you owed. They tell us it's $2 million per charge. We did not get back that much. I say to everyone, you guys do you and go and investigate it and research it too. If you get back something, remember us here. Now, in addition to that, it did take us a year to get back the 2 checks from the Treasury. To this date, we're still grateful. But what we did in the meantime, in between time as well too, was the international bills of exchange, the international promissory notes, and the estate money orders. And yes, some of them actually worked. And the ones that didn't, they rounded them up and charged them for treason and stuff, right? So, yeah, powerful stuff, you guys. Now, I like to pray and put a hedge of protection around all that is good globally and all the people that are out there researching and helping us to get free from all this stuff. I want to put a hedge of protection around Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, the Army, the Navy, the military, the Marines, and all that is good helping us. Now, you can visit us on our website here. I don't know if the email on this is working, but you can email us directly at themullings@gmail.com because the last email I checked here was December 17th. I didn't see anything else coming in, so we'll see. Right, and it's codification laws. Now, listen to what mortgages, tickets, citations, they're all being traded. So what Donald Trump and what's been reported to us here is that they're now going to go back and send us all the profits from that generated because that's what we asked for here. So all those now look at this, you guys. Ain't this interesting? I was like, what is this? Public intelligence blog. The truth at any cost. Lowers all other costs. Curated by U.S. This is Robert David Steele, right? Memorandum for the President. Number 6. 100 trillion in illicit wealth immediately confiscated. Confiscatable from Wall Street. Final. Commercial intelligence, cultural intelligence, peace intelligence. It reads like this. Background. There are a large group of cases and other undocumented studies demonstrating that Wall Street has stolen over 100 trillion from Main Street, including pension funds of police, firefighters, teachers, and nurses in the past 15 years. bottom line up front, you have the authority to confiscate via civil criminal forfeiture no less than 100 trillion. And I was just reading a tweet on Twitter where Donald Trump was saying that Wall Street's profits are the highest it's ever been. I think it was 400. What was it? I don't even know. Something. Um, no less than 100 trillion with particular attention to Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Merrill Lynch, but also including Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, US UBS, and many smaller firms such as Citadel, Bill Binney, with 10 people in 30 days, can harvest all relevant national security is this data inclusive of offshore banking transactions in further support of the existing documentation of FRAUD, immediate political benefits in the combination with your denunciation of this pork bill, COVID 19. I don't know why they're calling it that. That has fully exposed the perfit, I don't know, of the two parties and this subservience of the deep state and their subservience to the deep state, its foreign partners, your public announcement of your intent to confiscate 100 trillion from Wall Street by the 1st of February 2021 and to use that money to pay off the national debt. Only Andrew Jackson has done this to date. Fund a debt jubilee for students, elderly, and small business. Cover all past due rents and mortgages on a one-time basis and execute the Department of Defense Labor National Jobs Retraining Program with salaries devised by the Deputy Secretary of Labor under Ronald Reagan but not executed. Will make it clear to both members of the Congress and to the public that you are uniquely poised to make America great again. And then it goes on in ending the rigged financial system. At the same time, you end the rigged political and media system. Immediate economic benefits. The rigging of Wall Street has been known since the 1980s. I want to say it's known well before that. But the rigging deepened in this century. Remember, you guys, with this asbestos or whatever, we're going to find out that's coming around the loophole. It's coming around the pipeline. I don't know if it's the masks or what. People are now reporting in the comment section that you have to know the manufacturing company that made those masks, right? To find out, did they use the asbestos in the masks? Is that what this is about? I don't know. You guys have to go do the research. That's just the angel guides, and guides are talking to us here and trying to explain some stuff to us, right? Oh, Lord. Anyways, so go and do the research on that. Just remember, though, baking soda, lemon, you grated the lemon rind, keep it in the freezer, right? And water. Drink that daily to get the toxins out of your system. They're saying that's a cure-all. I don't know. Just try it and see what happens. And also for weight loss, those of you like us can't do exercise and stuff, not us, me. Yeah, try it for that and see. The rigging of Wall Street has been known since the late 1980s, but the rigging deepened in the century. What most do not know is that the most legitimate entrepreneurs and investors no longer go to Wall Street to raise money because they know that the placements are rigged and they will be subject to naked short selling attacks intended to destroy the company. So its shareholders have no legal standing. The perfect crime. If you were to announce that in your second term you'll be treating the Senate Banking Committee, the Security and Exchange Commission, and the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation, DTCC, as RICO organizations, and ending white-collar financial crime, this will cause the stock market to explode in growth. As innovators, it is now 4:07 a.m. here, you guys. I've been up since just before midnight. And ending white-collar financial crime. This will cause the stock market to explode in growth as innovators and entrepreneurs return the capital marketplace. Yes, and recently I had to cuss out somebody because we were sharing about all the stuff that Donald Trump has done, and they were talking some smack. And I was realizing that the trauma that all of us have been subject to with this miseducation and that is going to affect some of these people's brains, eh? Patrick Bryan is an asset. He can answer any questions you might have and also bring Wes Christian, the lawyer who for 20 years had prosecuted and documented this FRAUD in to see you. A website has been created as a starting point for the public education stopthenakedshortselling.org. If you were to name Bryan as chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission with the additional charge of integrating the DTCC into the government so as to end forever the practice of covering up failure to settle trades, you could triple the capital marketplace during your second term. Explain that, you guys. I'm a little bit confused. Table of Contents, Memorandum, the President of the United States of America, subject immediate opportunity to confiscate 100 trillion from Wall Street. Background on Patrick Bryan, biography of James Wes Christian, cartoons, and then it goes on to explain, I guess, all this stuff. So you guys, I'm going to put this link in the description below so you can go and research what this is about. Yeah. All right. Yeah, very interesting stuff there. Now, there was this that just came out.
Job. Durham is special counsel and can prosecute in any state. He's letting civil, criminal and federal courts fail to handle the situation properly, so he can use military tribunals. He has all the data from the NSA, the Kraken supercomputer, the Alice supercomputer, and likely many more computers unknown to us. He has the dueling electors from 7 state legislatures. He has VP Pence as the final arbiter of which ballots to accept. He has the insurrection at the NDAA, the National Emergency, the 14th Amendment, the 2018 Executive Order, the 2017 very first Executive Order, the Patriot Act, the FISA warrants, the declassification of everything. People swearing affidavits by the thousands. He has all the statistical data being analysed, along with the videos, emails, phone calls, bank transfer statements showing the coordination of the coup d'etat. He has RICO, and he has crimes against humanity. WikiLeaks just dropped extensive information, and Assange will be pardoned. Assange can then openly discuss that and those murders. Now, that the governors and Secretary of State certified and Biden accepted, they all knowingly agreed to and committed treason. SolarWinds was literally just raided. Dominion is found out. The CIA has their servers, the ones that were used to change Dominion votes from Trump to Biden. And he will soon have access to all of the actual machines themselves. He baited the deep state to stay in DC so they can be arrested.
All right, you guys can go and watch the rest of that one, right? Then I had to listen to this to the very end. This is the second one, but I wanted to listen to, I think it was this one here, because there's something that he was saying that resonated with me.
Linwood, let me ask you a question. You've sued the Washington.
They had no acknowledgement of their wrongdoing. They are not a newspaper that is going to acknowledge that it should be held accountable. They're not going to stand up and do the right thing. The only way that we're going to get justice and the Washington Post is going to be held accountable is going to be in front of a jury in Covington, Kentucky. Then we'll find accountability. You won't get it voluntarily from the Post. The media is incapable, the mainstream media is incapable of standing up and acknowledging their mistakes, committing to the idea that they will do better. They're not going to do better because they can't acknowledge how badly they're now reporting.
Why do you think all their surrogates out there, former professors, former federal prosecutors, former whatever they are, lawyers on TV who know nothing about the First Amendment, really, almost nothing about the Constitution as far as I'm concerned, they keep defending this kind of reporting as a protection of the First Amendment? We know, we just discussed, that's not true historically. That's number one. And number two, these are major corporations. They're not just newsrooms. And it has an effect. CNN did a hell of a number on your client, Nicholas Sandmann. And I'm just wondering, and they're not the only one.
Oh, no. The list is long.
So what happens next?
CNN was probably more vicious in its direct attacks on Nicholas than the Washington Post. And CNN goes into millions of individuals' homes. It's broadcast into their homes. They really went after Nicholas with the idea that he was part of a mob that was attacking the black Hebrew Israelites, yelling racist slurs at the black Hebrew Israelites. Totally false. Saying things like that Nicholas was part of a group that was threatening the black Hebrew Israelites, that they thought it was going to be a lynching. Now, you've seen the tape. If you took the time to look at the full context of what happened that day, Nicholas Sandmann did absolutely nothing wrong. He was, as I've said to others, he was the only adult in the room. But you have a situation where CNN couldn't resist the idea that here's a guy with a young boy with a Make America Great Again cap on. So they go after him. They were after him when I said they woke up on Saturday morning and started throwing punches. The CNN folks were online on Twitter at 7 a.m. retweeting the little 1-minute propaganda piece that had been put out by at 2020 Fight. We'll find out who that person or entity was behind that eventually. But they're out there right away going after this young boy, and they maintain it for at least 2 days. Why didn't they stop and just take an hour and look through the internet and find the truth and then report it? Maybe do that before you report the lies. They didn't do it. They were vicious. It was false. CNN will be sued next week, and the dollar figure in the CNN case may be higher than it was in the Washington Post.
So you're suing CNN Monday?
Monday.
Tuesday?
Tuesday at the latest, but Monday is the present plan. I got some young, smart lawyers that are working hard as we speak.
Double checking the footnotes.
Double checking. Listen, when we file our complaints, we've investigated it because we want to get it right. Maybe CNN can learn from that.
You're suing CNN Monday or Tuesday?
Yes.
May I ask for how much?
Well, I expect because of the way they went after Nicholas so viciously that the claim for his reputational damage will be higher than it was against the Washington Post. The Post was $50 million for the reputational damage, and we can discuss why, that figure. $200 million in punitive damages. Punitive damages are designed to punish and to deter.
Change conduct.
Don't ever do this again.
Yes.
I would think the punitive damages award against CNN that we'll seek will be at least the same, $200 million, as it was against the Washington Post. But the compensatory damage to Nicholas's reputation, that number I expect will be higher.
Again, you'll be accused of chilling free speech and in the press. And I just want to reiterate what you've said here, which is, no, actually, that's what they're doing. We want to go back to a time where you actually do your research, do your investigation, report the news. You make a mistake, that's one thing. What CNN did, from my observation, to your client was a campaign to destroy his reputation. I mean, it was over and over, and they brought in guests to talk about your client.
They did.
Then they brought in experts to talk about your client, all operating off of the same false narrative that CNN and others promoted.
They did, and it's almost like they decided to just turn over their airway to people who had an agenda and were lying about what happened. And it was not just to attack Nicholas. Nicholas was collateral damage. The war that CNN is waging is against the President of the United States.
I want to get to that as soon as we come back.
All right, you guys hear what he's talking about, right? Just think for a second. Those of us who are put through the ringer by these very same Jesuits, deep state agents, now known as trolls on social media, right? We were asking for $75,000 in punitive damages, $75,000 in compensatory damages, and $75,000 in defamation of character, for defamation of character, payable in lawful money and or fiat or USN equivalent, right? So international authorities go after those agents that we've put forth here on this channel, on the other channel, and we've written to you privately about, and see to it that all of us globally now get the damages that this lawyer is speaking on, Linwood, because that's the same thing. In lieu of these masks and things that are going on currently, it's the exact same thing. The media has chosen a narrative, put out information that those of us who have parents and people in our tribes who are doctors and nurses and people are familiar with what these things mean, the biological warfare that's been put on this is medical treason, medical tyranny. And those of us who had pneumonia and stuff know that we can never, ever, 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 ever look at a mask, let alone wear one, for a bacterial pneumonia and other things, carbon dioxide poisoning, what have you. So the very same damages that they just talked about here in this instant matter goes for all media heads globally. Round up all the profits generated, send it to us now.
Or more, there's like 36 people with COVID in the ICU. Whenever there's a flu, there's only 2 or 3 patients at a time in the ICU. But literally the entire hospital is COVID patients. This has never happened.
And how I'm not saying I'm not saying COVID's not real. I'm just saying I'm not sick. I'm not sick, and asymptomatic spread has been shown to be a myth. So why am I going to be treated like a sick person? Do you know that there have been
Love her. God bless her soul. And then
Hello, America. I'm Mark Levin. This is Life, Liberty, and Levin. We have a great guest, Linwood. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Mark. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for coming. You don't do a lot of interviews, do you?
I do not.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. You're Nicholas Sandmann's lawyer.
Yes.
You brought a lawsuit against the Washington Post, which we'll get into in great detail. You're like the go-to guy when it comes to cases like this, and this is a unique case. But I mean, where you take up the case of the underdog. Richard Jewell is a perfect example. Name some of the clients you've had in the past.
Well, Richard was my first client that got me involved in the First Amendment area in 1996 with the Centennial Olympic Park bombing. Since Richard, I've had occasion to represent some very interesting and wonderful, delightful people. John and Patsy Ramsey and their son, Burke Ramsey. I've represented the family for over 20 years. I've represented Beth Holloway, Natalie Holloway's mom, for over 10 years. Represented former Congressman Gary Condit for a number of years. Represented Herman Cain. Represented the young girl that was involved in the Kobe Bryant case. And then more recently, I've represented Vernon Unsworth, who was falsely accused of being a pedophile by Elon Musk. Vernon Unsworth was probably the hero of the saving the 13 boys in the Thai cave disaster. So I've had a variety of clients. I've gotten to know some of them very well. Richard was my first in this area. He died 11 years after the false accusations. I think the stress of those accusations contributed to his death. And I miss him every day, and he changed my life and changed my career.
let's talk about this freedom of the press issue. Do you stand for freedom of the press, or do the people you sue stand for freedom of the press?
Well, I will say you unequivocally, I am a believer in the First Amendment. But I believe the First Amendment has no strength and real value if there is not accountability for wrongdoing. So when people on the other side say that Lynn Wood's trying to chill speech, I'm trying to seek redress for false attacks, false speech. False speech has no value. And in Nicholas Sandmann's case, you're talking about false speech that threatened, attacked, and vilified a minor child. If I am accused of chilling that kind of speech, I'm happy to take that banner and wave it proudly. We don't need that speech. That's not what the First Amendment is all about.
And that's a good point. The First Amendment. We hear people throw around the First Amendment, freedom of the press. We particularly hear reporters use it. When our Constitution was established, freedom of the press basically meant the federal government hands off. But there was still power in the states where people could still bring defamation suits, correct?
Correct. Defamation law, the ability to, in effect, sue someone for false attacks on your reputation, was governed exclusively by state law until 1964. In 1964, in New York Times versus Sullivan, the Supreme Court brought in the First Amendment in cases involving public officials. And in those cases, actual malice standard of the First Amendment applied, but in the remainder of the cases, you still were governed by state law. And state law generally allows you to recover if the reporting is false and was negligent. Now, under the New York Times standard, a public official had to prove that you actually knew it was false, subjective, or that you acted with a reckless disregard for the truth. That got expanded by some very bright media lawyers into public figures, people of general notoriety, a few years later. And then it went so far, Mark, that they applied it in Rosenblum versus Metro Media to anyone who was involved in a matter of public interest. And the Supreme Court shortly after that realized they had gone too far. They dialed that back and reversed Rosenblum and said that it was only applying to a private figure if that person had voluntarily injected himself or herself into the forefront or vortex of a public controversy in an effort to influence the outcome of the controversy. I'm not sure where the actual malice stands.
Now, you see what he's talking about there, right? Someone was sharing, I think it was Mark Christopher shared with us last night about private, how we're in the private, right? And how that's also known as being under rule of law, and how the agents doing business as police were going after the people in the private, right? Was it using rule of law? Okay. Now, I was talking about in the last video about these restaurants and these contracts and these licenses and the health inspectors. And what came to me right after was the sanctuary cities and the fact that these restaurants were in fact a franchise under the head franchise. See where I'm going? Now, I don't think the restaurant owners may have known this fact, right? That the United Nations was claiming that these entities who were doing these corporations had taken an oath under the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, right? And then the head franchise, we know the United States Corporation, which is now to be defunct and bankrupt, right? We also know there were several different corporations, however. We know there was the Vatican and the District of London, where the financial branch was the Vatican, the popes of Rome, those Jesuits, and then we knew the military industrial complex, which was the United States Corporation. Anyways, what I'm saying was they were under the United Nations, under these agents who had taken an oath to the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. right? And then we learned that they had set up these sanctuary cities. I'm going to read to you what the sanctuary cities are. Seattle, it's just been reported. I was just noticing they just sent me, I guess 2 hours ago, there's a riot now in Portland again. Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, Salt Lake City, Denver, Los Angeles, Phoenix, San Diego, Dallas, Austin, Houston, Miami, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, New York City, Detroit, Chicago, Minneapolis. Now, those of you who are traveling around the globe in different parts of the world will know that there are other sanctuary cities set up in areas that you are located as well too, like us here. So I was reporting on that some time ago in one of the videos that the community that I was raised in looked like it had become a sanctuary city. Sanctuary cities does not mean sanctuary people. It was what that lady was who was running for, I think she was running for one of the seats in Baltimore. Yeah, that queen. And she was showing all the decrepitness that they allowed to happen in these so-called ghetto areas, right? So here we had New York City, Miami, and other places, Los Angeles and whatnot. Washington, D.C., I can tell you firsthand traveling through there are parts of it that's beautiful and parts of it that's frightening. And it's just like you turn a corner, it's like, oh my gosh. So I say this to say that is it possible that the restaurant owners are in fact under a franchise, which is one of these, I don't know if it's Walmart or one of these other corporations that have been allowed to operate, right? And then at the very top of the pyramid, there's like one entity. Okay. So is it possible that the one entity at the top of the pyramid decided that the lower echelon people that were originally, I guess, supposed to be in the private went public by signing those contracts, those adhesion contracts with the health inspectors and that, who have the feel that they have the authority to go in and cite violations for public health issues. Do you see where I'm going, you guys? Because it's word semantics, right? So the restaurant owners were fighting on one level, saying that they were impeding their right to life, liberty, and property. And their first properties are physical beings. They have a right to earn a living, right? However, under these contracts with these masks, and I was thinking about Admiral Maritime Law, because there was laws of the sea on dry land. Those of us heirs who use common law, common sense, right, under the Julian calendar and the Moorish American calendar, which is the Julian calendar is a 13-day time difference. The Moorish American calendar is 500 years out. The Gregorian calendar, we write in our affidavits that their debt slave time zone, I call it the Pope debt slave time zone calendar, the Gregorian calendar, right? Now, if you go and you claim under the Julian calendar, you own the name. So they claim that they not only own the name of the franchise restaurant, they own the name of the owners for the franchise restaurant under the all caps, right? Strawman, nom de guerre, right? So are they tapping their nom de guerre strawman accounts under this tax matter? And what UK, what I just read with the 100 trillion on that website, they were saying that it's a pork bill. A pork bill. So it's a tax, right? And so what would the people have to do is go and write to the head agent who is running that franchise claiming to be owner, right? I don't know exactly who that would be. At the top of the health inspector agents, basically, write to them as chief and then ask them the 13 questions. The 13-page, we have a 13-page document here with a whole host of laws and stuff that we have been given to use. And yeah, So I'm just trying to figure out if that's what's going on, if in fact they're under these. Oh, here's something interesting. On Wednesday, August the 8th, 2017, the Ninth Circuit ruled against a provision of the executive order that limited funding to jurisdictions that don't collaborate with federal immigration. Well, this doesn't stand. You know why this doesn't stand? The Insurrection Act stands. Because the sanctuary cities that were set up by these entities, I think it was Barack Obama and Biden and them set up the sanctuary cities, but they might have been set up long before that, I think. Because I remember going into this particular territory many moons prior and seeing the most unbelievable ghetto conditions I couldn't even imagine. I can't even explain it into words, you guys. The Bronx and them don't even come close. They make those areas look like Disneyland. This, what I'm talking about in these territories, people are living in cardboard boxes. Frightening, right? Now, I'm just saying that is it possible that these restaurant owners, when they sign those adhesion contracts, something in the contract stated that they have the authority to go and shut them down willy-nilly over purported tax matter or debt, also disguised as this scam, right? Claiming it's a health issue on the public. Meanwhile, the people starve who own these restaurants. That's all I'm saying. And if it's possible to then write the affidavit, send it off to the chief, ask them the questions, and then you can write to us for the commercial liens, right? All right, you guys, like, share, subscribe. You guys have yourself a great day. Does this make any sense to anyone listening out there? If so, comment below, trolls. I highly recommend you stay away because you know I don't play. I'm not playing with you. So, those of you who are conscious know and understand what I'm saying. You can write to us at themullings@gmail.com so we can shed some light on this situation that's going down, man. Because they're subjecting them to genocide. I'm trying to figure out why, what's going on. So that's what I just want to know what's that about. So you can write to us here for the GSA bonds and the 1099 OID. The GSA bonds to set off matters like child support cases, mortgages, foreclosures, tickets, citations, utilities, auto loans, student loans, warrants. And the question that keeps coming to me, when they were given these edicts to close the restaurants, right? Did they cite, okay, is there a claim number or the license, does it have a number? Because I'm wondering, can you not do the GSA bonds to set off that matter? I don't know, just some stuff that's coming to me. Anyways, so you can write to us here for the GSA bonds to set off mortgages, foreclosures, tickets, citations. Because this is tickets and citations, isn't it? Utilities, auto loans, warrants, and for those of you having to do see an agent doing business as a parole officer. Because isn't the health inspector like a parole officer? Do you see where I'm going? Codification laws, you guys. It's semantics. Yeah, it's semantics, right? What is it? Conveyance of language, FRUD. Okay. As well as those of you in for non-violent offenses, you can email us for the GSA bond templates to set off the matters, as well as the do not detain affidavit, the IRS status correction, the cease and desist, and a whole host of stuff. The true bill goes to the 1099 OID process and the 8281, 3949A, all the other 706 and 211 and all the other stuff that goes with the 1099 that the powers that be shared with us. Like, share, subscribe, you guys. Have yourself a great day. Happy New Year to everyone. Remember to breathe and think your life into existence. Remember to support us here. Go to PayPal at themullings@gmail.com. We'll put the link in the description below if you want to click on that description as well too. And you could use this channel with the affidavits we've created here for you too. Heirs and mores, you guys go to rvbaypublications.com. Do not argue with them about being American Indian. You're not going there for that. You can write to us here for the SS4 and the other stuff to correct your status in those other areas as well too. And John Barrasso, I think was his name. John Barrasso, you're listening to us. Yes, now we know we're Aboriginal Native Americans as well to American Indians, Indigenous. See to it we get whatever finances we're supposed to get sent it to us now. Thank you. Tokolo takanaitaka. Nono ko takanaita kila takano i kakaine no takanaitaka. Nena nakata takanaitaka and thank you.